everyone!
Hi!
Welcome. And my name is Emma.
And I'm Janice.
How long have I known you, by the way, Janice?
1.5 to 2 years?
1.5 years, I think so. Coming to
Yeah.
2 years now, so we're in the same team, right? But I think I have not actually, gotten to know your career history and like where were you before that?
Before real estate, okay, now I've been in real estate for about 4 years now.
Mm-hmm.
But before that, I was in corporate for about 9 years. Travel related, but mainly hospitality. More or less in my entire career in a sales related role.
Oh.
But like corporate sales.
Okay.
With CapitaLand. So I was managing their service residences.
For
And
me,
yourself,
I mean, I've been a salesperson for as long as I've known you, basically, right? Because more than 10 years working in corporate, I've always been in marketing, business development. My last job was actually in the government. Very much approved and endorsed by my parents. I had a lot of fun doing what I did, made a big transition to where I am today, and I think we can talk a little bit about that later. Yeah.
Because it's very different. Like, I mean, going from like a government role to self-employed.
Yeah, there was a lot that I had to consider, before I made the switch. But curious about your journey, because for you, I could see some relevance to what you were doing, but still coming out of corporate to do this, right? I'm always curious, what made people want to go into it.
I never imagined becoming a real estate agent.
Why?
I always felt like it was very difficult. Also because like coming out of university and then going into like a full-time corporate, right? It becomes very comfortable because you are used to like corporate culture, very stable salary. Yes, a bit predictable. But I think what really changed things for me, right, was actually COVID. I feel like that was when we were like forced to slow down, where we had to be stuck at home, and then we also had to pivot our business because there was like, for me, I was handling a lot of corporate travel, but obviously during that period there was not a lot of corporate travel, so we had to pivot the business to find new ways for the company to make money. And that was actually where I started to work with real estate agents.
Okay.
So it started out as like an interest, wanting to understand their industry. While we were in the same like similar field, I was in a different kind of like part of it, right? So then to me it was like, okay, there's a lot more for me to learn, and COVID gave me the opportunity and time. So then using my skills future credit, I decided that I should, make good use of my time, right? And I think that's where it opened up like my eyes to like, oh wow, okay, there's really a lot out there, like in Singapore. I mean, there's I was only in one segment, which was the service apartments. It all just kind of like one led to the other, and then I realized that like, okay, actually there was a lot more to the industry than what I initially thought. Okay, I feel like a bit like funny saying this, but then okay, basically I just said like before I took the exam, like okay, if I were to pass the exam on my first try, I will take it as a sign that
from the universe,
that I should pursue this,
I see.
Seriously consider pursuing it.
Yeah, fair point.
Yeah. So then it happened. I felt like the stars aligned. It took me 1 year to have the courage to like, okay, maybe it's time, like, or like the opportunity came at a time where like I didn't have a lot of like big responsibilities. If the business failed, which thankfully it didn't, but if it did, it's like it was a time where I can take the risk in that sense to try leaving corporate and try to pursue something else. Yeah.
Okay, but it's still a big decision. I feel
It
like.
is.
I mean, in our 30s, most of us are seeking stability, right? So was it a clear decision?
No. I wouldn't say that it's easy because it's like a very big jump. How difficult it would be to like leave behind like your very stable paycheck. I think for me was because I had this period where I actually tried to get a sense of the industry before making a decision to really leave.
It's kind of like a trial period.
I gave myself a trial period.
Okay.
Before then realizing that like, okay, there's no way for me to be able to be 100% at both, and I had to make a choice. The thing I'm very grateful for is that I had people that really trusted me from day one as a brand new agent. Like my really, really good friends, they like entrusted their properties to me, and that really gave me like the confidence from there to grow in that sense. Then how is that for you in terms of like deciding or even like why real estate?
I think my journey is a little bit different from you. My journey was such that, I decided to take a sabbatical from work first. So I actually left corporate, I left without a job, and I decided that I wanted to prioritize my mental health, and I wanted time to heal. I wanted time to just, focus on myself, right? So that was really my primary goal. But of course, after a period of unemployment, and at that point in time, I was doing gig work as well, so taking on projects on ad hoc basis. Real estate was something that was interesting to me only because I felt like I had my own experience, right? Buying a house, I realized that, hey, that's a very common journey that all Singaporeans have to go through. Unlike you, I didn't have that cushion, that period, of transition. I really just went into it while I'm not already employed at that point in time. But it's also scary, right? Because you are coming into it fresh. There's a lot of expectations going into it. It's very common for our generation to feel that, in your 30s, you should be doing A, B, C, D, E.
Yes.
You should be married with kids,
Yes.
house, you have investments.
Yeah.
I think there are all these milestones that, we are expected to deliver. At the end of the day, after going through this whole experience, I realized that everyone's journey is different, right?
So true,
We
yeah.
needed to do our own growth, and I had to lean on my years of experience working to tell myself that it's not gonna kill me. I am who I am, right? And I think that's something that you and I can relate to. Like you, I had some really good clients that, not friends, but actually clients who were referred to me by my friends. So I guess maybe my friends don't trust me as much, but they trust their friends with
Enough,
me.
yeah, they trust you enough to send their friends.
Sorry friends, I still love all of you, okay? It's okay, no hard feelings. The difficult part for me was not being able to share this with my family. For me, I made the decision to just go through it myself because I don't want my family to worry.
I feel like we'll always be like kids in our parents' eyes, no matter how old we are.
Exactly. I know these questions come from a place of love, but it also pressures me at the same time. All those early questions that I had, have all been addressed.
We persevered through
Yeah,
it.
yeah, definitely.
Or at least overcame the fear. If you think about being in your 30s and you see your friends really excelling in their careers, especially those that chose to continue down the corporate line, right? Then we are actually really starting over.
Yeah.
You don't really have anything to show for because you are really just trying to prove yourself again from scratch again in a sense, right? And then seeing at least for me, I gave myself a year to see whether or not I could make this work.
I'm curious on your point, we have nothing to show for. How did your social circle, take to the news that you are? Was it positive? Was it supportive?
One of the things that I really feel that was my struggle with corporate, right? I think it came to a point where I had to question myself, climbing the ladder. And I think that's something that I always thought that I would do. But then it came to a point where it also feels like your entire life is around trying to make that boss that is above you look good. And then now stepping out of that is okay, we are out of this cycle. It's no longer about reporting. It's no longer about putting on a show. And I feel like that's where what we do, there is very direct impact on the clients that we work with. Because the kind of recommendations that we make, I mean, even if we are managing their rental properties, right, the tenants that we put in place for them, all these things impacts the actual client that we are serving directly, right? Whether or not they have a good tenant to look after their investment property, or whether or not they are actually buying a good home for their family to live in and all that. You can see where your work has direct impact on someone else's life.
But you were saying that your friends were very surprised, right? But were you able to explain to them, and did they understand, or it's more of they still didn't understand, but because they love you, they just bought you anyway?
Yeah, I think it was more of that. So I think the question was always there are a lot of agents in Singapore. So
what's so different?
Isn't it very competitive? But I think that also pushed me to be very intentional. When I started out, I actually opened up a sheet of paper, right, and then started writing what was my vision. If I'm really going to do this 100%, right, what is what's the kind of realtor that I want to be, what kind of values do I want to embody. So it's kind of like really looking at myself as how people would look at their company, right, with your like vision and your motto and stuff like that, right?
That's your corporate training.
Yeah, I think so also. I just like I wanted to be like directed by these values and hold true to it, like regardless of, you know, the circumstances and the situation, and knowing that like this is why I'm doing this and not because of like anything else.
But what about like self-employment? What were the expectations you have, you know, coming into it, and did it match your expectations? Or actually it's like very different? You know?
The irony is that the difference now is that last time I used to work like 9 to 7, right? But now I feel like I work all the time.
No, that's very bad news for anyone aspiring to be. Okay, so
but I think the difference is because like you are self-employed. Now you are accountable to yourself, right? Yes, we are under a team, but you are still really working for your own commission, your own like salary, right? So I feel like a very big sense of responsibility to my business. Like, you know, I don't want to ever drop the ball because I feel very accountable to my clients. So whether it's like I'm on holiday, I never really switch off.
Okay.
And I think that is the thing that I have been trying to learn to balance over the years. I think I'm getting better now. I wouldn't say I was so good at it in the beginning because I continued my sales corporate background into my first initial years, right? And I was just really working as hard as I can to try to hit my own targets and stuff like that, right? Which then also meant that I did have to sacrifice more time on like to spend with my family, spend time on exercising, for example. Which is when I realized that I needed to learn how to do this like balance better if I want to last for the long run.
Maybe a related question. The industry as lucrative as you imagine it to be?
I mean, that's why I'm still here, right?
Yes.
If not, I'll be back in corporate, to be honest.
The
goal from the beginning was always to be able to make more than what I was in
before.
my corporate. I wouldn't say that it's like easy money or like, because I think the misconception is that like, oh wow, you know, you're always posting about awards and stuff like that, but money in real estate is very slow. I would say that like the first year, I did actually dig into my savings quite a bit. But thankfully now with a stronger base, it is a lot more comfortable. I have to say that it's really a lot more comfortable, and I feel like it has finally paid off, like taking this leap.
Did you know starting out that you're gonna be digging into your savings?
I mean, I was prepared for that.
Okay.
So I was prepared for like 1 year, gave myself 1 year. If I really am still bleeding after 1 year, then I think I should
very responsible
consider my options.
I would say honestly, coming into it, I had a worse impression of it, right? Leaving the stability of a job, I felt like I was giving up a lot. Okay, it was more like a glass half empty sort of situation for me. So coming into it, of course, like I just like expected the worst. And I spoke to a lot of people, you know. I mean, thank goodness I met you. You're one of the more positive people that I know. People gave a lot of like fair warnings, right? Some people even told me that they wouldn't even make 10 or 20,000 in a whole year. The truth is, I think out of the many people are not very profitable, right? So I came in with eyes wide open, but I would say because I was so negative, right, was also, you know, able to prepare myself for the difficulty, how much the expenses would be at the start, right?
It's actually really a lot more than
even
what people think.
Yes. And even compared to some other type of self-employment businesses, right? Relating to what you said about time, I think my perception is I'm very busy, but I'm also very free at the same time. I'm always doing something, but there are times I have nothing to do. Nobody is free to do anything with me, you know. My hours are just not
like
matching
opposite with your friends.
It's just not matching the rest of the world. But it's great, you know. I think that I get a lot of me time, so that's learning to spend time with myself, which is great for an introvert, being able to do the things that I like to do, going to the gym or reading up on stuff that I want to read up on, those are stuff that I didn't get to enjoy back when I was in corporate.
Now that you're saying this, right, I remember how I think we were involved in this like training where we had to like report. I think it was PWS, like one of our
I
next training.
wasn't. But
We had to like report very early. Then we had to fight like morning traffic. All of us, we all came from corporate and we're like, how do we used to do this like on a daily basis for so many years? When suddenly you ask us to just like show, I think it was just like 2 days or 3 days, and we're all like, oh my god, like it's so tough. I think like the thing that I thought would happen was that this role might be very lonely. I feel that it is sometimes. A lot of the work that we do is alone, even though we're in a team.
Yeah.
But the good thing is that like I feel very like lucky that we managed to find people in our team that you can like vibe with, forming a support system. Because of this support system, then we can have like a bit of a sounding board when things get a little bit tough.
I mean, it's so nice that you said that, because you were definitely my support system. I think that like for anyone that's like trying to come into self-employment, like it is a very lonely journey, right? Because like you really are accountable to yourself. I think a lot of us have some pride also, like what the make it or break it kind of thing, right? But I think like there's no need to be so hard on yourself. At the start, even as I got introduced to you, there's never been like a culture where I don't want to share, right? And after all, the more you share, the more you also kind of like fine-tune your own understanding, and over time you also learn from each other. So I mean, thanks for that. I mean I just want to say this, like you really, like this was to me one of the most important things that made the transition easier. Like anybody doing this, please find your own support system.
I would say that it's not so easy. Like I mean, now we're saying that like, oh, you're find your tribe, right? But like you also need a bit of discernment, right? In terms of like
you sound like you have a story
evaluating. I don't know if I can put it online. Sometimes, I mean, especially in the beginning of your career, you might be a little bit more naive in terms of like thinking that we all have each other's back. But sometimes it does take like where money is involved, and then you would get to know a person's character. And I think that's just the unfortunate thing. And I think it doesn't just apply to real estate alone. I think it can apply to anything, like even like for friendships, relationships, right? Like once money is involved, you can really see a person's true character. And sometimes lessons have to be made or paid. With that, then it will help you to solidify your tribe in that sense, like knowing like who you can really trust and who you should kind of be careful about.
Maybe what's like not explicitly said about industry or self-employment in general is that people are very friendly, right? People portray themselves to be very friendly, and it's so difficult to understand, is it coming from a place of authenticity, or are they just their work self? If you are looking for someone that you can trust, whom has your back, feel the right advice, the sort of support that you need, it's like a bit of trial and error.
Yes.
Do you feel like you have really like pushed yourself to the next level? And if so, what were some of these things that changed you, hopefully for the better? Maybe you can share a bit of that.
I mean, like when you're talking about that goal setting, right now I remember like for our mentor, he always like makes us do this. Have you done it before?
Which one?
Like with the 4 quadrants.
Yeah.
And then it's like family, self. So it's not just like purely sales or money related. But I think like if I look back, like now I feel that I feel like an adult. Like not
you were not an adult before.
That wasn't before, like more of an adult now. More in the sense of like becoming self-employed also meant taking on a lot of responsibilities. And I think it came in a lot of forms. Suddenly you need to know how to file your taxes, right? Managing your expenses, making sure that you are maximizing your tax reliefs. What else is there? Okay, there's like so many things. I mean,
managing your cash flow also, because like you said earlier, we don't get steady income, right?
Correct. So then it's like there's so many things to factor in in this business, right, it's not just what you do, but then it's also all the other things that come with it at the back as well. I feel like I'm still learning in terms of like, now that I'm at this point, right, what would it take for me to push myself to the next like level, and because there is going to be another like leap in terms of like now from a budding self-employed person, right?
I mean, basically you have so much more that you can do, right?
Yeah. Then it's like, then because I feel like as it grows, then our like what we know will have to continue to expand, like in terms of like managing more, like leading a team, running an office, you know, like if you really want to expand and grow, right, then there'll be all these other things to like consider as well, which I'm not there yet. Like I feel like I'm kind of like happy with where I'm at, right? But at least I know that like there's still a lot more to
expand into.
Yes.
Okay. Shade question, like, are you happy like doing what you're doing?
I would say that in general, I'm definitely happier.
Okay.
Like in the sense that I feel a lot more sense of fulfillment in what I do. At least I feel that I've built something that I'm proud of, and I know that it's through a lot of hard work, a lot of like a lot of things that happen behind the scenes that people won't really see, but I know that it's things that I've really invested time and energy, sweat, tears into. Can I see myself doing this in the long run? That at least I know with certainty that yes, I actually can see myself doing this for the long term. Right? It's not, I'm not here to just make a quick sale and then disappear after. Right? I think it's about like really growing the business through the years, and really hoping to be able to journey with all my clients. And I mean, like also then seeing like where else this journey can lead us, you know, because I think that there's really a lot of opportunities, and I think like off camera, you know, we always have like a lot of ideas that we are always like bouncing off each other, like not just on real estate, I think it's on a lot of different aspects of life, because I think the good thing is that we have a lot of like similar interests. So it's like now it feels like, okay, because we know how it's like to grow a business, like then what else can we kind of like look forward to or try to work on.
I think as you were saying that, I think that would be my biggest like delta, you know, coming out of like employment, is that like, I mean, okay, thankfully, you know, the organization that I was in was very stable, right? Government. But I think among our peers, we would hear very often about like job stability and security, right? Because like it's just changing so quickly, and we don't know when our jobs would be made redundant, right? So having gone through that, you know, experience of like crafting something for yourself, I think that's a skill set that you will never, you know, get in a corporate setting, right? As much as we had to pivot and things like that, we were still in a very like sheltered sort of environment. So I think this is like really something that that I'm so thankful for. And like what you said, like the I mean, the sky is the limit, right? Now that you've started one business, you feel like you can start 10,000 businesses, right?
I mean, if only people knew like the kind of ideas that we are always
exactly. It's like, I mean, if I can do this, I can do so many other things, right? Of course, I'm sure our confidence were very often misplaced, but it doesn't matter. You know, at least we have tried something that, you know, was deemed difficult. But I think that would be something that, you know, I feel so grateful for. Am I happy? To all my friends who like to ask that, like, I would say yes, I'm very happy. And I'm sure people asking that question is coming from a place of love, right? They want us to be happy. They, you know, in out of their care for you, would feel like, if it's so difficult, then just go back, right, to corporate. But I think there are like things that are worth doing, right? And I think like carving out, creating something, innovating something, and calling something your own is something very worth it.
Yeah.
Right, and I feel like what better time to do it than in your 30s, I can only say the older that you get, the harder it will be, because there'll be more fears, right?
Yes.
So might as well face the fear earlier and then just get it done.
Yes.
And then there'll be more other fears we have to face in our 40s lah.
Which we will get to it.
Yeah,
in
which we'll
time to
get to
come.
it. Yes. So thanks everyone
Thanks
for
for watching.
joining us. Okay, Ken.
Bye.